Greetings, greetings, greetings. Peace, peace, love, power, and protection. My people. Yes, my people. Let's get in here. It's time. Let's get in here. Ooh, I hope you all are feeling energetic. I hope you all are feeling positive. I hope you all are feeling full of positive energy because if there ever was a time for me to keep my head out of the bat cave. If there ever was a time for me to come from under the ground like a groundhog and show you all that summer is just around the corner, then I would say that this is the time. Let me know when you drop yourself into the chat room because we're getting ready to get it on today. We're getting ready to get it on today. Come on up in here, family. Greetings, greetings, love, peace, power, protection. We're going to come together today. I mean, what else can we do? If you are a person that believes in the power of positivity, if you are a person that believes in the power of prayer, if you are a person that believes in the power, guidance, and direction of your ancestors, if you are a person that believes in the power of the Most High Creator, I don't care what you want to call God. Let me say that one more time. I don't care what you want to call God. You can call God God. You can call God Jehovah. You can call God Yahweh. You can call God El. You can call God Allah. You can call God Buddha. You can call God Shiva. You can call God by whatever name you want to call the Most High. All I'm saying is call on God today. I'm saying call on your ancestors today. I'm talking about, see, you think because this situation is happening in another country that it really doesn't affect you, but it affects you. It affects you. It affects you. See, this is why I came from out of my secret sacred garden, my secret sacred space, because it's time. Beloved family. So, wherever you are joining from, I want you to take a moment with me and just simply breathe. I just want you to breathe because it's so much noise going on in the world. We got a lot of fear, we got a lot of anger, so much confusion moving through this atmosphere that all of us as a humanity are being affected by. See, because war has a way of making the world feel unstable, uncertain. But before we start to talk about that, I want us to ground ourselves in spirit. So just take a few slow breaths with me in and out. We're going to ground ourselves. Breathe in one more time. We call upon the divine presence that moves through all creation, the source of wisdom, the source of life, and the source of peace. We ask that the ancestors of every righteous lineage stand with us today. May the spirits of those who came before us guide this moment and help us hold space for truth, compassion, and understanding. Let our words not be rooted in fear. We don't want to be rooted in division, but we want to be rooted in clarity, wisdom, and love for all people. Humanity, you see, because even when we look at the evil or the wickedness that's in the world and we want to separate ourselves from it, how can we separate ourselves from it when it is a part of what is going on in our reality? So instead of trying to separate ourselves from it, what we need to do is face it head on and figure out how we can combat some of that negative energy with positivity and with love. May protection surround all who are innocent. May wisdom touch the hearts of all the leaders. You see, wisdom, because see, when leadership move in emotion, well, then look at how many people have to suffer. So we ask that our leaders be guided by wisdom and not by emotion. May peace begin to take root where conflict has already taken hold, right? So while we're waiting on a couple of more people to come on up in here, let us know when you're up in here. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's going on, Ganja Cat? What's going on, all of you who are in the chat? I'm going to stay rooted in spirit. I'll try to take a couple of minutes after, just depending upon how heavy this energy needs to move, because we're going to come together. And I'm asking any of you that, you know, it's a whole bunch of folk out there say they got power, right? People still around here burning candles, doing readings, you know what I'm saying, running to the crossroad, running to the church. Everybody got all this power, but nobody can't divert war. Nobody can stop war. Nobody can. All this power, all this power, all this global power, all of these religious and spiritual people, and you mean to tell me that we haven't collected enough positive, powerful energy to put a stop to this nonsense that's going on? You see, let us come together. Share this, because if you know a person who has just a little bit of power, some of your prayer warriors in your church, some of your people that can move some energy, some of y'all hoodoo workers, voodoo workers, root workers, everybody got all this energy and all this power. So can we put this power together to do something positive for this world? Because you think this war doesn't affect you, but what about the economy? You think this war doesn't affect you until you go to the gas pump. You think this war doesn't affect you until we are in such an economic situation to where all of y'all 401ks that y'all contributing into, and all of y'all hundreds of thousands of dollars of savings and all of this stuff, when they start to put locks on your money and they start to seize this and seize that, you think it doesn't affect you until it affects you. All while you're watching on the internet is, oh, those poor people, because you think it doesn't affect you, but it does affect you. This is why we have to come together. You get what I'm saying? So before we talk about this global situation and this global war, I don't know how many of you all have been paying attention to something that has just come. Like, I didn't even know that there was so much conflict and war between people of color. So if you all are aware of this, go ahead and say in the chat, or you can put it into the comments section. But I didn't even know that there was a whole, what are they calling this? They're calling this a delineation movement. Like, this is a word that I hadn't even heard of, delineation. So you've got the melanated people that call themselves indigenous to America. Then you've got melanated people from the Caribbean. You've got melanated people from Haiti. You've got melanated people from Africa. You've got the Somalis. You got all these people. And then you've got these people that call themselves foundational Black Americans. I'm just confused, or am I just old? Because we go from colored to Negro to Black to Afro American. Now you FBAs, and I'm just confused. I'm confused at how people cannot see that it must be the powers that be that feel that if we can cause conflict and distraction amongst the peoples of color, no matter where they're from in the world, then we're winning. See, there's a song that Junior Reid came out with. It's called One Blood. And then you had a rapper called The Game that wanted to come back and redo it. But he sampled Junior Reid's voice in a song. It says, one blood, one blood, one blood, one blood, one blood. But see, we don't believe that, because you've got these people all over the internet, right? And it's surprising for me to witness this increased hostility and separation between communities of African descent. Right. It's been a lot of conversations online, and they're drawing sharp lines. They're putting these lines in the sand between the Black Americans, the Africans, Caribbean people. It's a lot going on, and some of these conversations have turned into arguments about identity. Who was first, and who owns the culture, and whose struggle was worse, and who deserves solidarity. Right. We need to look at for centuries how African people of African descent were scattered across the world. And they were scattered across the world by historical forces that were beyond our control. We're talking about colonization. We're talking about slavery. We're talking about migration. And we're talking about the displacement that was created to separate us. And the minute we start trying to come together and singing kumbaya, and here comes some psyop or something to come in and tell you that you better than your brothers and sisters in Jamaica. You better than your brothers and sisters in the UK. You bet. Listen. I think that as we look at what's going on in the world, as above, so below, look at the war that's going on amongst people of color. And you all got the nerve to be sitting down talking about what's going on. Oh, well, telling the Iranian people, we ain't got nothing to do with that. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Can you all come together within yourselves? Can you all come together? Can you all show love to one another? Maybe you can and maybe you can't. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir. Maybe I'm speaking to a brick wall. I have no idea. But I'm going to say what needs to be said. See, melanated people, black people, whatever you want to call yourself, recognize that the division that has been caused amongst historically marginalized groups is not by accident. Throughout history, division has always been encouraged, because once we are fragmented, we are easier to control. Once we are fragmented, we are easier to control. I just wanted to just drop a little note on that, because again, this is so I had never even heard of. And then you happen to be watching something here or there, then a video will pop up in your feed. Look at what they're feeding you. These videos that will pop up in your feed showing you all of this discord amongst peoples of color in different regions of the world. Stop it. Stop it. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the spiritual implications of war. I want to talk a little bit about the spiritual implications of war. I want to go into something a little bit deeper, but I do want brothers and sisters to realize that, love is a very powerful frequency. And once we start loving on your own if you call yourself a FB, I ain't never even heard of this word, but it's FBA, Foundational Black American. Well, I would love to see Foundational Black Americans loving on one another a little bit more. Work on that. And then sisters and brothers in the diaspora, we don't have to get off into conversations about who came here by force and who came here by choice, do we? That's not a conversation that we need to have. We need to start having the conversations or the discussions or the reasonings that are more important to us surviving as a species rather than an ethnic group. Because you think a missile cares whether or not you were born in the United States, as were 3 generations of ancestors before you? Do you think a missile cares about that? That's right, Cherie. A house divided. That's right, Cherie. I digress. So when we look at war, it's not only the political aspect that we need to tap into. It's a spiritual disturbance in the collective human field. I'm talking about your aura. Every explosion, every time that there's an act of violence that is committed, every loss of an innocent life, what happens is that sends waves of trauma into the collective consciousness of humanity. I'm talking about everywhere somebody is scared, somebody is worrying, somebody's family member that is in the military right now that might be stationed in Iraq or Iran or any of these places. Some of you right now may have a family member that is in the United States Army or in the UK Army or any of these places. Now you got these other countries that are deciding that they're going to come in, and China and Russia, they're going to jump on the side of Iran. Now we're talking about WW3. So from a spiritual perspective, that conflict, it kind of rises when It kind of rises when the earth's imbalance reaches too much, when the earth has said, okay, I've had enough. It's a breaking point, right? You've got nations all over, and what happens is they've got a lot of unresolved grievances. They're operating in fear, economic pressure. Sometimes it's made up conflict in their mind, and then this made up conflict is going to eventually manifest into real conflict. So spiritually speaking, war is reflecting what we're going through, right? As above, so below, as it is in heaven, so it is on earth. War is reflecting humanity's struggle between our lower impulses and our higher wisdom. Talk to me when I'm talking. War reflects our inability to rise from out of the lower chakras and start operating into the higher chakras. Now, does that sound like a language you all understand? War is the tension between domination and cooperation, fear and compassion, ego and collective responsibility. See, I'm only going to come out and have something to say when it's worth me saying something. So the more compassion and wisdom we can have flowing through each and every one of us, even if that compassion for you only looks like, saying a silent prayer, because they said that there was a school that was attacked where small children. Now, did the children deserve to be unalived? I got to say that word unalive. I got to say that now. I don't like changing my vocabulary. This is why I don't even like coming on the internet no more, because you can't talk how you want to talk. You got to say stuff like unalive and, you know. Let's look at the stars. Let's look at the stars, though. When we look at the astrological alignments, many of you into your astrology, your numerology, what's going on in the world, right? When we look at the astrological alignments, the energy of end times, some of this, has to be scripted. Because when you look at what's going on in the world today, look at their biblical prophecies, and they're using the Bible. And, when you look at what's going on over there. This place was called Persia back in the Bible. This place was called Canaan back in the Bible. This place was called Babylon back in the Bible. And these places have always, since the beginning of time, according to biblical scripture, these places have always been at war with one another. Why? Why is it that these particular places, this Middle East, what is it about that whole energy over there? Y'all look at what I'm saying. Look at what Iran was called. This was called Persia. Israel was called Canaan, the Canaanites, Canaan land. I digress. Astrologically, a lot of spiritual traditions we can kind of observe that when certain planetary alignments coincide with what's going on in the earth, like global tension and transformation and upheaval, we can look at that and we can recognize that there's something going on in the heavens, as above, so below. So when slow moving planets interact in a strong way, it often corresponds with major shifts in collective structures, meaning right here on Earth. So when you look back over time, there's always been a lot of challenging alignments that involved our planets associated with power. You got Saturn, you got Mars, transformation, conflict, authority. You look at some of these leaders, their birth charts and different things like that. A lot of people aren't into that, and that's fine. I'm saying people from whatever your religious path, whatever your spiritual beliefs, I'm just dropping knowledge, because in just a few moments, we're going to come together for a global reckoning, a global prayer. Whatever your thing is, we're going to have you put some energy out there so we can end this now. So in astrology, these times that the planets are doing their thing, it doesn't force events to happen, but it kind of gives us a little insight into the energetic climates that make certain kind of things more likely. This is what we got to look at. So when humanity is under an intense kind of cosmic pressure, a lot of our earthly unresolved issues are going to surface in a dramatic way. Systems that seem unstable, they're going to crack, they're going to break. See, you're going to have to see where a lot of this systematic breaking down of the old world, they call it new world order, right? But look at look at how the old order has just been messing things up, right? These same alignments, if we tap into them from a positive perspective, it can also bring opportunities for change and transformation. Because what happens is a lot of times these things pushes us as a humanity to confront what no longer works for us, whether it be a power structure, whether it be an economic structure, whatever it is. So when we talk about what's going on, we got to kind of look at universally, cosmically, what's going on. So when we look at what's going on in the stars and with the planets, it's not telling us about a bunch of fatalities. It's basically a map, an energetic map of what's going to transpire. Just as storms, just as we can predict a storm, or the weather people say they can predict a storm. You know, storms can destroy or they can cleanse the air depending upon how we look at it. So it's the same thing with what's going on in this energetic astrological climate as it relates to the war. Greetings, greetings, greetings to all that are just joining us. Welcome. Right? So when we also move into a climate, we say, well, okay, Sister Ningba, Sister Stone, how can this affect me? I'm right here in the United States. I'm in Tennessee. I'm in Texas. I'm in California. I'm in New Orleans. I'm in Oklahoma. How does this affect me? Because, okay, let's put the spiritual and cosmic, thing to the side, and let's look at the material reality of how this affects you. See, although we have a lot of leaders that operate, move, and make decisions in emotion, a war rarely happens based on emotion. Oh, it is a logical, planned out conflict. And there's a lot of economic pressures behind it. Resources, trade routes. They're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. But it's always, look at historically what wars have always been fought over: land and oil. Land and oil. What is it about that, family? What is it about that? Somebody always wanting to, take and control the resources rather than everything being equally dispersed amongst all people. If the wealth was equally dispersed, if everything was equally dispersed within this global arrangement the way that it should be, there would not be people that were living in extreme poverty. There would not be people in the world that had so much money that they don't even know what to do with it. They can't die and their great grandchildren be broke and poor. That's how much money some people have, while other people on the very end of this spectrum are robbing Peter to pay Paul and trying to figure out where they're going to get their next meal from. So war, it disrupts in your supply chains, global supply chains. Your food that gets shipped in from Mexico, your different things that get imported, things that get exported, and it affects you. It affects the energy market. It shifts our currency values, and it's going to kind of twist and turn national budgets towards military spending instead of social development. Now, all this money has to go to fund the military and all of this. And now who's got to pay for that? You do, brother and sister. You do. You've got to pay for that. Right? And so when the conflict escalates, you and I, everyday people around the world, we're all going to feel these consequences, and we're going to feel that through the rising prices of everything that we have to consume. Instability in the financial markets, people who are investors, people who are into the stock market and day trading and whatever these So what's going to happen? These people are threatening you. Y'all making jokes all over the internet talking about these people going to wipe your credit score away. That ain't going to be all they're going to wipe away. They're going to wipe your bank account away too. You are what the money you thought you had in a bank account, where it is. Oh, because you don't really have money in a bank account. That's an illusion. You have a bank statement with printed out from a digital situation that's telling you how much money. Do you have that physical cash in your hand? Do you have physical cash stuffed in mason jars, tucked under your bed? No, you've got a bank statement, or you can pull up an app on your phone that's showing you digitally how much you have. Now, what happens when them people push that button and wipe all that away? Guess what? Boo hoo on you, because you ain't got that money no more. Now you're wondering how it affects you. It affects you. Even the countries that are not directly involved in the war, everybody's going to experience the ripple effects throughout through the global economy. This is why when I say let's come together to end this now, this piece is not only a moral issue, it's about economic stability for everyone. Everyone. War really doesn't benefit anyone, but it affects everyone. They think that it benefits them, but it never fits us. Because when you look at, let's look at long term. We're not even going to look at the headlines because that's in the moment. Wars, they leave scars that last for generations. People are still talking about the Vietnam War. People are still talking about WW1, WW2, and all of these things. These things affect people for generations. When your infrastructure is destroyed, your economy is destabilized, children grow up in an environment that was shaped by that trauma and that loss. So when we look at certain regions, sometimes they get destroyed. Sometimes it takes them decades to rebuild after a major conflict. Can you imagine what the people over in the Ukraine and a lot of the African war-torn nations, once these places get completely decimated, it takes them a long time to rebuild after that. Think about our brothers and sisters, and you can call this a war or not, but look what happened with Hurricane Katrina. To me, that was a war against the melanated people in an impoverished area, but that's neither here nor there. But look how long it took for them to build up that war down there. It takes a long time, family. And the long-term effects, they're not only physical, it reshapes the alliances. Whereas, for example, the United States might have been best buds with, certain people over here. Now, because you're the United States and you're an ally, and because of something that was written within the United Nations and everything, I gotta jump on your side and be in this war with you, even though I don't want to be. It's going to reshape a lot because a lot of people do not agree with what is going on right now. A lot of people don't agree with what's going on right now. A lot of people are saying, hey, why is this even happening? What are we even at war about? Historically, whenever there's been an attack on one of these people's place over here, we find out way after the fact, oh, sorry, we were wrong. There weren't any weapons of mass destruction over there. We were mistaken. Is this going to be another one of those issues where the people that were making the decisions to make a certain political move are going to find out that they were wrong, or that they already know from the beginning that they were wrong? See, this war affects all of us. It affects you, our children, your grandchildren, your little babies. Is going to Head Start. You think it don't affect you? It affects you. You all jumping up and down talking about, oh, yes, please erase my credit score. What's going to happen when they erase your food stamps? When they hit all the systems? Because remember, that's another economic power play. They can hit that button and knock out listen, it affects you. This is why you want to pray with me. This is why you want to light a candle with me. Whatever you do to contact spirit, you better do it because it affects you. When nations fight, Listen, the consequences stretch far beyond the battlefield. Peace is important for all of us. Peace is not just about stopping the war. Peace is the presence of stability. Peace is cooperation. Peace is mutual respect between nations. I was watching something recently where they talked about how in business, in America, you find a lot of businesses, they're in competition with each other. If I open a sneaker store and you open a sneaker store, we're going to twist up our noses at each other, and you might lower your price, or you might run a sale. You might, we're in competition with each other. And in other countries, they sit down and figure out how they can come together. Okay, we got two sneaker stores. Okay, how can we get together and get these people money? You see, when we talk about cooperation and mutual respect, that benefits us all as well. When countries are not spending enormous amounts of money and resources on conflict, guess what? Those resources can then be back invested into the people. How does it affect you? Because it can be invested in your health care. It can be invested in your education. It can be invested in innovation with technology. It can be invested in environmental protection. Talk to me when I'm talking. If I'm talking to myself, let me know, because I can click off. Are y'all in the chat? Let me know something. Am I talking to anybody that understands why this affects us and why we need to be wanting peace, wanting for this nonsense to end? Because it affects you. It affects you in Africa. It affects you in the United Kingdom. It affects you in Canada. It affects you in South America. It affects you in Brazil. It affects you in Portugal. It affects you in Spain. It affects people everywhere. From a spiritual perspective, peace will create a condition where communities can thrive. Peace aligns us as a humanity with our highest potential. Our highest potential. Peace reflects the understanding that suffering of one part of the world will eventually touch us all. No nation is an island that stands alone, not anymore, not in isolation. See, this modern world, whether we realize it or not, it's interconnected from an economy standpoint, economically, environmentally, and culturally. The world is interconnected. So it affects somebody, it affects you too. Just like if we go into the rainforest and they cut down all the trees in the rainforest, did you know that the majority of our oxygen here on planet Earth, let me drop this on you just in case you didn't know, the majority of our oxygen that we get wherever you are, it comes from the world's rainforests. So do you know if they go in and destroy the rainforest, do you know that it's only a matter of time before the air isn't even worth breathing? This is why I say, as a humanity, as a planet, as a population, we are interconnected. So peace is not optional for global survival. It's mandatory. It's mandatory. Listen, you do not have to be a politician to contribute to the healing of this world. Okay? You just need a sincere heart. That's all you need. If you happen to be catching this upload after the fact, that's fine, because time is nonlinear. So you can catch it after the fact and you can still put your energy with us. It's just that, when we are collective and we're concentrating and focusing our energy into one direction, we can make things happen. But guess what? You can watch this upload after it's uploaded, this live after it's uploaded, and you could still put your energy with us, and we're going to put together for change. I want to invite you all to pray according to your own tradition. You can meditate in silence. You can visualize peace being spread across the earth, or you can call upon your ancestors for guidance and protection for everyone. We're going to do this together. And I want to let you know that the energy that we generate together, it matters. It's powerful. Okay. So our history is we don't have to look to the governments and military and all that to shape our history. It's also shaped by our collective consciousness as a species, as humanity. And tonight, this collective consciousness, we choose peace. Okay. So I'm going to do a visualization where you can close your eyes with me. I'm going to do a collective guided visualization for peace. So wherever you are in the world, you can join me in this. You can just take a couple of deep breaths, connect with the creator, connect with Mother Earth, connect in whatever way spiritually that resonates with you. Okay? So this moment that we're coming together is not about religion. It's not about politics. It's about our intention, and it's about consciousness. And you can come back and you can do this meditation and its prayer again. And you could play it throughout your home, because not only will we have a major effect on the energies that are going on around us, but you can play this in your home and watch as it transmutates energy in your space. So wherever you're sitting right now, I want you to just relax your shoulders. I want you to relax your shoulders and take a slow breath in through your nose. And I want you to gently release it out through your mouth. Again, inhale slowly and exhale. Now I want you to imagine the earth for a moment. Not the map that we see on television, not the borders that governments put in place, but I want you to visualize this living planet. As it appears to us as a beautiful blue and green sphere floating in the vastness of space. I want you to see that clearly in your mind. This planet has carried humanity for thousands of years. It's held us all together, civilizations, our families, our joys, our struggles. Now I want you to imagine a soft golden light as it appears above the earth. Visualize this with me. We're visualizing our planet as a living, breathing entity, suspended in space, floating in space. And I want you to visualize this light appearing above the earth. This light represents peace. It represents wisdom. It represents compassion. Now, as you continue to breathe, I want you to see that light beginning to spread across the planet like a sunrise. Let it move across the oceans. Let that light move through the mountains. Let that light push its way through cities and villages, everywhere, every corner, every crevice, every nook, and every cranny of this planet. Where there is fear, let this light bring an energy of calm. Where there is anger, let this light bring overstanding. Where there is violence, allow this light to soften the heart. Imagine that the leaders of all of these nations now are surrounded by this light. Imagine this light causing their minds to become clear, their egos to become quiet, and their desire for power to give way to the wisdom of life. Imagine the leaders choosing a dialogue with one another instead of destruction. Imagine this light filling their beings. Imagine this light filling them with cooperation instead of escalation. Now see the innocent peoples of the world that are caught in this conflict being surrounded by protection, by this light. See their families being surrounded by light. See the children being surrounded by light. See the elders be surrounded by light. See the communities that simply want to live in peace. See them being surrounded by light, brothers and sisters. Hold this image in your mind. Hold this image in your heart. Now, I need you to understand something very important. Every person watching this live right now, you're adding energy to this field. You are adding love, light, compassion, protection, and peace to this field. Your prayer matters. Your intention matters. Your compassion matters. Your energy matters, because when thousands of people hold the same vision of peace at the same time, that's going to create a ripple in the collective consciousness of humanity. When we can visualize a world where wisdom is over war, where nations learn to resolve conflict without destroying each other. A world where the next generation inherits peace instead of trauma. Don't you want your children to grow up in a world that's peaceful? Now take one more slow breath in. May peace move through the earth. May peace move through our communities. May peace move through the hearts of those who hold power. And may each and every one of you carry that peace into the world in whatever way that we can. And we say, Amen, Amin, Ashe. And now, brothers and sisters, if you would, join me in addressing the Supreme Being, the creator of all life. Connect your heart and your mind to the creator. However you see the creator within yourself. We've already visualized light around the world. We've already visualized light around the leaders. We've already visualized light, love, healing, and peace around the innocent. Now let us address the creator. Creator of life. Source of the breath within every living being. You are the intelligence that created the stars, the oceans, the mountains, and each and every one of us. We come before you today in humility. We realize that across this earth, there are many people of many languages, Most High, many cultures and many beliefs. Some call you God, some call you Allah, some call you Spirit, some call you Source, some call you Creator, some call you the Great Mystery, some call you the I Am. But behind all the names, we recognize, Most High, that there is one sacred presence that gave life to this world and sustains it right now. It is that presence that we call on today. It is that presence that we speak to today. You are the giver of life, and every life carries a spark of sacredness. Every child, every mother, every father, every elder, every stranger across this ocean, even the ones who we don't know, all of us are a part of the great human family that lives upon this earth. And yet today we acknowledge with heavy hearts that there is conflict among us. There is fear, there is anger, there is pride, and there is greed, and there is suffering that is spreading across many nations. There are innocent people who wake each day not knowing if they are safe, not knowing if their future is certain, not knowing whether or not they're going to see the next sunrise. Creator, we ask for your guidance in this moment. We ask that you touch the hearts of those who hold power in this world. We ask that you give them wisdom that is greater than their pride. We ask that you give them compassion that is greater than their anger, Creator. We ask that you give them clarity that is greater than their fear. We ask that you help them remember that the decisions that they make affects the lives of millions of human beings who simply wish to live. We simply wish to work. We simply wish to raise our families, oh God, and walk this earth in peace. We ask that you soften the hearts of those who see one another only as enemies. We ask that you remind them that before there were borders, before there was politics, before there was any ideas of enemies, we were all humans sharing the same sky and breathing the same air and walking on the same earth and fishing out of the same oceans, oh God. We ask that you protect the innocent. One more time. We ask that you protect the innocent who find themselves caught in the middle of conflict. We ask that you surround families with safety, surround children with protection, and surround communities with courage and hope in the midst of uncertainty. Oh God, we ask that you allow wisdom to arise where people can only think with a confused mind. We ask that you allow calm to take over where their anger has been leading them. We ask that you allow compassion to come in where hatred has darkened their heart. Creator, we also ask that you strengthen the hearts of the ordinary people. Strengthen my heart. Strengthen the hearts of those that are watching this live right now. Strengthen the hearts of those that would watch it after the fact. We ask that you help us all not to fall into the traps of fear and division and bitterness, because that's all war is made of. Teach us to remember our shared humanity. Help us speak words that heal rather than words that wound. Help us to seek understanding instead of feeding conflict. Help us to become instruments of peace within ourselves, within our homes, within our communities, and within our nation, oh God. We know that peace doesn't begin only within treaties, right? Peace begins within the human heart. And we ask that you touch our hearts today, touch the hearts of the leaders, touch the hearts of those that just want to stir up more chaos and conflict in the world. We lift this prayer with sincerity. We lift this prayer with everything in us. We lift this prayer giving thanks that it is already done. We are having an attitude of gratitude that you're going to stop this war. We're having an attitude of gratitude that you're going to bring peace amongst the nations because you've done it before and you can do it again. And if it be the will of the Most High, if it be your will, if it be the will of the ancestors, then those that would have it no other way than to seek to destroy this world, then you know what to do, oh God. Pluck them out. Remove the cancer out of this planet, oh God. We ask that peace spread across this earth like the sunrise. May wisdom guide the decisions of the leaders. May protection surround us all. May humanity remember that this is one world and one future that we share together. May the spirit of peace move through every nation, every community, and every heart that calls this planet home. Creator of life, Holy of holies, source of all things, the great I am, I ask that you hear my prayer because it is offered with humility and hope. I ask that you touch those that put their energy towards this prayer, and may peace prevail amongst us all. Amen, amen, ashe, selah, so mote it be. Brothers and sisters, thank you for joining me. That's literally all I have today. I wanted to come in with all the negativity that's going around. I want to see somebody pray for peace. I want to see somebody care enough to take a minute to stop scrolling the nonsense and just take 5 minutes to talk to your ancestors. Take 5 minutes to commune with the Creator. Because if you think that this war doesn't affect you, then think again. Because it affects you one way or another. But my prayer is that we put a cease to this. You put your energy to this. You play positive music in your home. You only absorb positive things into your aura and into your consciousness, brothers and sisters. Because I believe. Do you believe? Until next time, y'all. Peace.